Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to do something ever so slightly different, and we are going to look at my ILNP wish list. Now if you've been here for a little bit, you might have already encountered my videos about my nail polish rules, but in case anybody's new or just never bothered to watch those, which is fine, the basics are this. I try to be a conscientious buyer. I try not to dupe myself. I'm not allowed to have backup bottles, and I try to use my entire collection. I think that's everything in a nutshell. So today we're going to do some screen capture, and I've made my cursor really big and very pink, just in the hope that it is easier to see. No, I don't normally keep it like this, but I'm kind of warming up to it. Maybe I will. Maybe not so big, but I might keep the pink. Now, unfortunately, you guys are at a bit of a disadvantage here. You've seen some of my collection through my videos, but obviously that is not comprehensive. So it's hard for you guys to know what sorts of niches I'm trying to fill in my collection. But I will say, I'm kind of lacking in flakies. I'm kind of lacking in oranges and golds and yellows. I could use some work on the reds. I'm pretty full on teals, periwinkles, indigos. There's not any likelihood I'm going to pick up any here because I have too many. It's not a problem. So one of the first things I would like to talk about is actually the most recent release, because I am looking for oranges and yellows pretty actively, and I don't know how I feel about Lunchbox. I want to like it. I think I liked it in a couple of the videos I saw. I think I watched, gosh, who was it? I think I saw Kelly Marissa's, and I want to say that I also saw one from Polished Yogi, I think. And I kind of liked it on them. But then I come here and I see the photos, and I absolutely do not like it, which is very unfortunate. Maybe I'll go back and watch those videos again and remind myself what it looks like. But it's sort of looking like a dilute harvest wheat here, and I do not like that. I would much prefer something that was more sunny and sort of the bright happy, and even a yellow leaning into amber, something with just a hint of orange in it is okay with me. But this is like a yellow with a hint of brown, and my brain hates it. So staying in the realm of strange yellows, that might be slightly brown, although to be honest, this is just a brown. I do have Cookie Cutter on my wish list. And this does seem strange because this is a color that I do not normally like. But when I saw this, I thought, oh my goodness, maybe this could be my Mrs. Puff. My SpongeBob collection, I didn't get every color bang on the way I wanted, and Mrs. Puff was one of the ones that I felt that I had come to a compromise over, because I needed to find a brown in this sort of tone that I did not despise. And at the time, I could not do that, so I bought more of a fawn colored polish rather than one of these more caramelly polishes. And now I'm looking at this one and thinking, this could be my Mrs. Puff. I don't mind this color, and I feel like it is more accurate. So I am currently weighing whether I want to replace my current Mrs. Puff with this polish. I believe, what is my current Mrs. Puff polish? It's not Pony Up. Space Cowboy, that's it. My current Mrs. Puff is Cirque Colors Space Cowboy, and so I am considering replacing it with this one as a more accurate Mrs. Puff. Moving on to the next polish, the next one I'd like to talk about is Peach Ring. I saw this advertised this spring and thought, ooh, somebody has managed to climb inside my brain and give me exactly what I wanted. This is fantastic. Look at this thing. Glorious. Who could say no? And normally I'm not that big a fan of just a plain old hollow polish, but this is the perfect color. So I am more than happy to grab this one. Of the many polishes we'll look at today, this one is already decided upon. It is definitely coming home when I order ILNP. Also, I just wanted to say, if you're hearing strange sounds in the background, that's actually just the sound of my mouse on my desk. My microphone likes to pick up all sorts of extraneous stuff, and the closer something is to my microphone, the worse it gets. And I can only get my hand so far from my mouth, so you're going to be hearing me moving my mouse around. Next on my list is Olive Grove. Ooh, this one, oh my goodness. Prugly, glorious, swampy. I don't know what else I need to say. Look at that thing. My only concern, I do have an old BKL that is somewhat like this. I think it's going to end up being duping the vibe more so than duping. It has more of a swampy teal base with copper flakes in it, and I think overall they're not going to look that close. But it's possible, if I was being very, very strict with myself, I could find a way to invalidate this one, but it's just too good. Look at that thing. I really do feel like this one needs to come home. I don't actually have that many olive polishes. For some reason, olive falls through the cracks for me a lot. In a field of greens, that seems to be one of those greens that I always tell myself, oh, you can find one you like just a little bit better. There is a more perfect olive color out there for you, and so I keep leaving them behind. So I think this might be the one I grab. And again, I do not think it's as close to the one I have as maybe my imagination is letting me believe. There will come a time when I have to bring out the bottle and look at the bottle compared to my screen and just make sure I'm not making a duping error, but I don't think so. Next on the list is Pitter Patter. Now this one feels very out of character for me. I tend not to like crelly-ish polishes. This one is a tad crelly-ish. Oh, but it's so cute. I love how it's sort of a grayish purple, that it is a more buildable formula, so it isn't a thick crelly. Like I can kind of see through the end of the nail on this picture. For me, that's actually reassuring. I know for some of you it will not be. They're calling this a blue. My brain says purple, but you know, I also don't know if they have a purple category. I assume they do. Boy, I really think that's a purple and not a blue. This might be one of those agree to disagree things. But my brain sees a gray with a hint of purple. Maybe it's an illusion, maybe it's not. Regardless of what color it actually is and how we want to categorize it, I do really like this. It did sort of surprise me, and I was surprised to find out how much I liked all of the Overcast collection. There are several in here that I thought were very interesting. Kind of like Daybreak a little bit. Also shocked me. Oh, let me get rid of that, sorry. I did kind of like Starlight. Now I do feel like I might have something closer to this one, so that's why it's not on the wish list. Pitter Patter, of course, we just saw. Rainy Day, another one. I'm really surprised. I kind of like this. I'm still not sure if I want to put this officially on my wish list. I'm definitely thinking about Rainy Days. Thundercloud, I feel like I have a few grays. Not really feeling this one in the same way. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't know that it has a place in my particular collection. But yeah, I was really shocked that I liked so many of these polishes and that so many of them seemed like something I would be interested in. So this might be a case of buying one initially, trying it out, see how I feel about it, and then maybe dipping back in for the other ones that caught my eye if I'm happy once it arrives. I don't have any reason to think I wouldn't be happy with it, but I think we've all had an experience where we thought, ooh, I'd like those 4, please. And then they came in and you think, maybe I only needed 2 of those. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has done this. Up next is Bitten. This is a very deep red, sort of a garnet color with some flakes in it. Now, I am hesitant to buy this one because, again, you guys don't know this yet, but I did buy a couple of garnet colored or deep red colors for Black Friday, and I haven't gotten to try them all yet, and I don't really want to buy more until I understand how I feel about my current ones and how this might dupe any of those. But this is on my wish list. I really like how bright, and even though they're in the same colorway, how luminous those flakes look inside that deep vase. Did I say vase? I meant base. Who knows? We're slurring at this point. Maybe I'm tired. Those flakes just look like they are popping off the nail. And I really like the effect of that in this polish. So this is currently on my wish list. It might need to be reevaluated in the light of newer polishes that I have purchased, but I'm going to leave it there for now. Another polish I am considering is Hallucinate. This is also a deeper color. This one seems to be a deep purple base. This answers my question about whether they have a purple category. Deep purple base with a shifting shimmer that it looks like it will move between maybe a chartreuse, depending on whether we can get that actually onto the nail, gold, orange, and red. Now, I really like how it looks in the photography. However, this one runs up against the case of potentially being a dupe for me. I do have a polish called Purifier that I bought from PPU a few years ago. I have a feeling they are basically identical, except that Purifier has a few extra flakes in there and not just a shimmer. So more than likely, Hallucinate is going to get dropped because it's too close to being a dupe, but I do love the way this looks, and maybe this is just one of those things where I have to come here and look at it once in a while and then go put on the other nail polish because I already own this polish, and I need to just accept that I already own this polish. Sometimes we just have to do that. The next polish I wanted to look at is Shapeshifter. It is a deep brown with some shifting flakes in it. Now, this one runs up against the same problem some of the more recent polishes we've talked about does, which is that I have Mooncat's Stumped, and I think the biggest differentiation I can make is that Mooncat's flakes are bigger. I think this is far too close to being a dupe, and I think when I do bring out that bottle and have a look at them next to each other, this is probably going to get struck from the list. Unfortunate because it is very beautiful, but not so unfortunate because that means I already have that very beautiful polish. So just a reminder to myself that I like this tone of brown. So in case I somehow magically forget. Next on my list is more of a category of polish than a specific polish. I am interested in some of the foils that ILNP offers, but I'm unsure which one I'd like. And in addition to that, I have heard that sometimes these tarnish over time. So in terms of specific colors that I'm interested in, I am a bit interested in Mirage. It looks a bit more of a brassy color. I'm a tiny bit interested in Carbon, but I do have an actual silver foil, so this is probably more like anything I do have. So if anything's going to come off the list of things I'm interested in, this is probably a good candidate. I'm also slightly interested in, where is it? By Nightfall, which is a darker blue. There's one more in here, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Bulletproof Symphony, which I think is more of a purple. Yes, this one says it has a medium periwinkle color. So I was slightly interested in this one as well. I know most of those will not be a problem in terms of dupes because when I'm thinking into my collection and imagining them all in the drawer, I can think of a green foil that I have. I can think of a silver foil and just sort of a light golden colored foil. So I'm not having to worry too much about dupes in the foil category, but more so I'm concerned about that tarnishing effect because if I'm honest, if I buy a polish, I do kind of like it to stay the color that I purchased. I know that's not always going to be something that brands can promise, especially as we keep our polish, 5, 10 years. That is a hard thing to guarantee us. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about these ones. It might be one of those things where I just need to take the plunge and it's just going to be a known risk. So we're not quite at the final polish, but there are a couple of polishes that I'm trying to decide between. One of which is Flashing Lights. It's sort of a light to medium blue, and it seems to have hollow in it. And I think it may have a magnetic stripe. I'm just going to open this up. Yes, it does. Okay. So if we look at it on the nail, it also seems to have a warm shimmer in it. Very cute. Very much liking this. But there is also, and apologies for the typing sounds, Rock Candy, which is, as they say, more of a teal, but I'm going to call it a bluey teal. And these two strike me as somewhat similar. And if I use this to compare, let's see if, oh no, it didn't go in there. I added Rock Candy to compare. Perfect. There we go. I got there eventually. So you can sort of see the difference where they feel like they're in sort of the same category of bluish into just barely teal. There is a little bit more green in the Rock Candy. There's a warm shimmer in this one. It is slightly lighter for the Flashing Lights. And it does seem to have a silver stripe rather than what is probably a silver stripe, that because it's more pigmented, Rock Candy pulls to look like it has more of a turquoise stripe. I like them both. Having a hard time deciding between them. I've made no firm decisions. Again, both look very pretty. Both of them could pretty easily fit into my collection. If I'm honest, I think maybe Flashing Lights is less like other things in my collection because I do have a number of teals, and the likelihood of Rock Candy offending my dupometer is pretty high. But these are two more polishes that I am considering. I'm leaning Flashing Lights right now, but we will see what happens. And finally for today, the last polish that I'm considering buying from ILNP is shockingly a topper. I do not buy toppers. I have one topper in my collection. I hate it. Yeah. I cannot tell you why I seem to hate toppers. There's something about searching out the perfect polish that is part of the enjoyment of this collecting for me. So buying components seems antithetical to that. But I saw this polish and I saw it over a blue. I think in the thumbnail it's over a blue. Yes. I believe that's what's used as the thumbnail. Oh gosh, do I like that so much. That is absolutely magical to look at. And I just thought, I have so many dark polishes, and these cute little pink flakes would really contrast with that really interestingly. And maybe if I'm going to try to ease myself into the thought of buying toppers, maybe this is a good place to start for me, because the topper I do own is very much a mix of things. It is a kitchen sink, and when I put it over other polishes, it just makes them look like a garbagey mess. It's too much happening, even for me. And I do like a messy polish sometimes, but it just looks so disorderly and chaotic, and for me, very ugly. So maybe a single toned topper is the way to go for me, because most of my other polishes are, how do I say this nicely? I tend to like a lot of components in my polishes, so they're already a bit busy, shall we say. So maybe I'm going to buy a pink topper, which sort of shocks me. But I kind of feel like I should take the risk because now that I know more about myself and my polish habits, this could be an informed choice where I bought that other topper quite early into my collecting before I understood really even that I didn't like Crellies that well or what sorts of colors I wanted to wear on my nails or anything like that. I think it might have even just been like, trying to think, it might have been my second indie polish I tried. So if that gives you any idea how early in my collecting I bought that topper, that's how early it was. It was years and years and years ago. I want to say 2017. So obviously some time has gone by since then. And I do feel like I understand my taste better now than I did then, for sure. Do I completely understand my own taste? Who knows? This may show up and I may not like it, but I'm thinking this is a good place for me to start. Again, if it shows up and I don't like it, I can give it away. I have just reassured myself that, okay, you're just not a topper person. And that is it. That is my entire wish list for ILNP right now. I'd say, what do you think? Have I overlooked some true classics from ILNP that absolutely need to be considered? Do you own any of these polishes and do you have opinions about them? I would love to hear about that. Especially as regards the metallics, because again, the rumors are not troubling, but give me pause. Yeah, what do you think? Please let me know, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.